Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Life on the Hulls, and right at this stage I have a boatload of work to do. I've got a list from hell to work my way through over the next month or so to get this girl on the water, and Janet has worked out a full-on spreadsheet, and then the daily tasks are just epic, and we've been going 12 hours a day for weeks on end trying to get this thing on the water. And yeah, there's just so many little things that can tie you up, and the theme of this week is that there is not one single trade involved in boat building. You're doing everything, and there's a lot to do, so let's get into it.
Holy dooly, the wind! Whoa! I've had like 120k gusts this morning. The tent's going, whoa, whoa. And I've been up here on the bow. What a session this has been. Hand sanding this guy down. So I've wet sanded that to 400 grit, this entire area. I've still got to do the windlass hatch, and I've done the mast base up there. I'm going to do my textured surround around that mast base just to highlight the area around the mast itself. And then I've basically wet polished all of the front of the boat here, like I've done up on the hardtop up there. And what that means is that once this is all polished and buffed, hopefully by the end of today, I'll have all the front part of the boat here actually wet sanded and polished, and then all I've got to do is clean the anti-slip. I should be able to then just wash off any dirt and crap that comes from this stinking wind change. We've had a big cold front come through yesterday, and whoa, cool, but 120k an hour a day, and Janet's out on marine rescue out on the water. I mean, they're in an offshore wind. They'd be in 10-foot waves out there today. Hopefully they don't get any call outs. So I'm going to get into it. Now you can see here I've been going through a lot of dry sanding as well, just getting rid of dirt and scuff marks and any imperfections in that windlass hatch surround that I fashioned out of foam, and it's looking absolutely perfect. So I'll get onto the wet sanding now, get it all pretty much prepped and done, and then I can buff it out. Last week was spent doing the stern of the boat. I've done all of the hard top, and pretty much the whole back of the boat has been polished to finish, and I've been working down here today. So this area here, all the bright whites that you're seeing here, I haven't quite finished, but all the bright whites has been polished roof from 400 grit through to 1200 grit, and now I'm about to buff this. I'm not going to finish the bow just yet, but this is all going to be buffed up, and then we can concentrate on the anti-skid. Now once that's all done, I should only have to wash it with soap and water before I launch, and that's what I'm aiming for, is to try to get the outside of the boat finished so that we can launch it and then just give it a quick wash before it launches. And that's the plan. But yeah, even the modified windlass hatch has just come up absolutely perfect. Now I've got to finish the lid itself, and the mast base up here has to be done as well. So I'm about to do that texture on that tomorrow. The wind today has just been dire, and you know, 120k an hour winds, and that's been awful. 70 knots I think they reached out on Point Perpendicular, which is our headland out here. And I've got to do some gel coating up around the mast base, and I'm not prepared to do it while there's so much dirt flying around. I mean, I cleaned this whole area this morning with a vacuum, and again about an hour ago, and it's 3 o'clock now, and it is still covered in dirt from the stinking wind, and it's all coming from the tip and the industrial estate behind me. There's a lot of excavation going on over there, but as you can see, the white is just absolutely perfect, and it's immaculate. I mean, it's as smooth as it gets, and once I get in and buff the thing now with the polisher and a nice cutting cream, I think we should end up with a really beautiful result here. Alright, our rear lounge has just had 4 wet sands and a complete polish, and I'm just about to give it a buff. So we're basically completely sanded and wet sanded this right through to 1200. I have to do a little bit of a respray right here. I've got a thin spot here, and right where the mold join was right here, but for now I'm going to buff it down so it'll stay nice and clean, because I'm sick of the dirt. Massive day yesterday, polishing up all the front of the boat here. I've just got the anti-slip to clean up now. I'm pretty much done on the front here now. What I'm going to do the windlass hatch, the edges around it, because we've fabricated it in 4 pieces, it's actually a little bit rough. So I've got to either fair it and put a beautiful smooth finish on it, or I'm going to do my textured finish. And the textured finish is sort of affected with a roller like this. It's actually got a sort of a meshy sort of finish, and it does do quite a nice effect. And I'm going to do it around the mast base here as well, just because I could either fair this down or put this texture on it and never have to worry about it. Easy to repair. There'll be a lot of things, tools getting dropped on here, and ropes and lines and stuff. There'll be a lot of wear and tear around this area here in particular. So I think the texture is good, and it'll sort of blend in well with the anti-skid on the outside. With these rudders all prepared now, it's time to start populating it with foam, and that basically is going to involve filling it in with block foam. 30mm H80 foam is what I'm using here, and I've got a sheet of it I've been saving for just that reason. And as you can see, those 10 panels are pretty much going to take up this entire sheet of 30mm foam. So this is about $300 worth of foam sitting here. Not sure what the rudders are worth, but I know the carbon shafts were around $700 each, so we're already up to around about $2,000 plus labour to make these rudders, and that's not including the finishing. So I reckon to buy one of these rudders, I would estimate around sort of $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 each. So I think I'm doing all right. So I'm going to get out there with my track saw and cut all this up, and then I'm going to have to shape them, because this is going to have a channel cut in it for, or sanded into it for, the actual shaft itself. So I'll glue the foam on with epoxy, make sure it's all filled and void free, because it's so important that we don't have any water ingress or any opportunity or any voids in there for water to get into to delaminate this, and then basically start the shaping process in a few days time once all that epoxy's gone off and that foam is glued in place. Shaping it was a bit more of a challenge than I thought it would be. I've actually destroyed my file sander, so it'll be back to the hardware store for a warranty, because it's just not up to the task. So I've got to shape it around the rudder shaft, and each of these pieces is basically going to just simply be glued in place. Leave it for a day, turn it over, do the other side, and then come back and shape it all. Almost a week to the day that I started making the rudders, and I'm ready to put foam in. Because I've been working on each side and, you know, doing other things, doing a lot of stainless fabrication, but this is basically where I'm at. So this is side one, all ready to go, all shaped out, and I'm using thickened epoxy. I'm using the West Systems Techniglue, or R60, which is just insanely good glue. And the entire blade and shaft is complete epoxy and carbon. So this is where we sort of go back into our normal composite fabrication and get back to fiberglass and foam. Obviously we need the foam there just to build out the shape of the foam, and those reinforcements could include 600 double bias and 400 double bias. I'm not that keen on putting carbon on the outside. I think it's just a waste of money, and effectively it's not going to do anything, and to be honest, that's less impact protection than this will have as well. I do sort of want them to be fail-safe, these rudders, as if they hit something, I'd rather they break than actually rip the bottom of the boat out. Even though I've built in a complete rudder section compartment that can sustain a knock and obviously swamp the boat without actually swamping the rest of the boat. So there's a lot of things to think about when you make your rudders. I'm trying to sort of work out a fail-safe way that I'm not going to have a sunken boat if ever I have a breach of the rudder, which happens, you know, because everybody seems to run aground these days. So we'll get this done, we'll get them all laminated up. It's all been sanded, all ready to go, and the foam will go on, and then I'm going to weight them down, and then tomorrow I'll come back, turn them over, and add this stuff, which is the other side. I've still got to shape all that, so it's taken me pretty much a better part of the day to get all this done, and I'll glue them on, leave them, get on to something else. Now I'm down here with my drill press. That's on Dad's old drill press, and I've got it on about 500 RPM, so it's on super slow. I've bought a couple of nice solid carbide drill bits just to drill some base plates to mount underneath these stanchion bases. So each one of these has to have the corresponding 4 holes, so that when that's on the top of the deck, this will go underneath and give us a nice cosmetic finish inside with a mirrored stainless finish inside. Not convinced I'll be able to use the entire thing. I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to go up and see if I can test fit it and see if that works. If not, I might have to make just a half of one, and that half of one will do the job, and then I'm just going to have washers on the other side. I think I'm 600 words. Doesn't go any slower than that. And how you adjust that on this old drill press is here. We've got a multiple speed, and we're on the first setting here, so we just adjust the fan belt, adjust the belt to suit that speed. I think anyone who's used a drill press knows all about that. But it goes right up to about 3,500. This one, it's not super expensive one. 2,500 is the speed. So 600, 900, 1250, 1750, and 2600. So that's about as fast as you've ever want. And drilling stainless is all about as slow as you can go. Righto, so I've just made that, and we decided that's not going to work. But that's an exact replica of the stanchion base, and I'll keep that for Ron because I'll use it for something else. But I've got to make 10 of these, and I've got to make 4 of these for the additional hard top on top of the helm. Now these ones here are multiple supports around the hard top, so I've got to make 10 of those. So I've got them all marked out here, and just got to basically drill them. I'm going to drill all of them with the one drill and then change to the next drill. Slow is pro, as Ronnie Lilburn told me. Let the drill do the work. Don't put too much force on. Keep the oil up to it. Nice and cool. In full fabrication mode. I go from doing tiny little stuff to just taking on a massive thing, and fabricating is just, you've just got to immerse yourself in it for a few days. So I'm on to making all these base plates that are going to match the stanchion bases for the hard top, and particularly inside. I want them to look nice inside. I don't want to have ugly big washers and things, so these will go up underneath and basically interlace with the lining, I'm hoping, but we'll see how that goes. But I do have to back every single thing. A lot of boats I just see, 20-cent piece size washers, and it's just not enough when you're putting in stanchions and things like that. So it's just absolutely essential. I've got 10 of these base plates, so I'll finish them up tomorrow, get them all polished up, and that'll be basically it. You can see it's got a mirror finish on it already, so that basically will be absolutely perfect to back every one of those. And once I finish them, I'll make up some round ones, which will be to base for the actual helm station roof. This whole project has just been from fiberglassing to timber to steel work to laminating to God knows. It's been a trade every day, and electrical, plumbing, you can name it, engineering. And now I'm making stainless plates. This has taken a good couple of days to get all these together. These are the base plates for the stanchions, for the supports for the hard top, and these ones here are for our 50.6mm stainless supports. So there's lots of work going on here, and basically all I'm doing is basically giving them a quick polish now with a unitizing disc. This is a grey poly unitizing disc, and then we'll move on to a red one, and then we'll move on to a felt polishing disc with some soap wax. And ultimately it's just a long process and a lot of standing here just grinding away. But these are now almost complete, and these will go underneath the stanchions. I can't put a curved one in because there's not quite enough room in the actual fiberglass, but yeah, it's a lot of work doing these. It's taken me days to drill them and days to get them all done. There's another couple of big support mounts I've been doing up there as well. So the polishing requires all the edges to be rounded off and nice and smooth. I don't want any sharps, and these will be basically bolted to the back side of the supports. There's a lot of crap on them from where I've been fabricating them, and I just need to clean them up with this disc and then work through the grinding discs until I get them down to polish. Righto, that there is the culmination of a very big few days work. I've done a lot of other things, including the rudders, which are up in the back of the factory there, but these here have seriously taken some effort.